The Chicago Bulls narrowly get beat in Charlotte, but fortunately they're able to pull out the overtime victory. What went all into that victory, and what went into Torrey Craig having his best night in a Bulls jersey? We're going to talk about all and more on today's Locked On Bulls.
You are Locked On Bulls, your daily Chicago Bulls podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Thank you for tuning in to another episode of Locked On Bulls, member of the Locked On Podcast Network, where it's your team every single day. I'm Haize, host creator of Chicago Bulls Central and Chicago Bears Central YouTube pages and podcasts. And yeah, let's go ahead and get into it. The Chicago Bulls pull out a victory in overtime against the Charlotte Hornets. Yeah, I picked a corny title on it, but this was a rough game for a lot of ways. And sometimes this is the type of game that really helps a team really identify and build some identity. The Bulls are a team that has struggled with lack of identity for a while now. And so now when you look at this type of win and the Bulls pulling out this type of win, this is one of those wins that you look at and you may look back on and say, hey, they were able to pull this out. The Bulls shot terrible in this game. I want to be clear here. The Bulls shot 37% overall from the field, 30% from three-point range. They shot 70% from free throw range as well on taking 27 free throws in this game. 2 of those missed free throws coming at a key time by Nikola Vucevic. It just overall, there was a lot of things that went wrong in this game for the Chicago Bulls. Keep in mind, this was a Charlotte Hornets team that was missing LaMelo Ball again and Brandon Miller in this game. Now, they did get 31 points from Miles Bridges, which is good. It's great. 20 points as well from Mark Williams. And, the Bulls had to overcome that. And they did so as a team, right? Everybody really played their role in this game and had their different moments in this game as well. Josh Giddey, doing his thing, getting close to a triple-double. Coby White coming even closer to a triple-double despite bad shooting from those guys. And so the Bulls overcame a bad shooting night and pulled out a victory against a team that is inferior against them. So, keep that in perspective. It's not one of those wins that we're going to be like, oh, my God, this was just – it's so important on the season, but this is the type of game that does help a team learn what it takes to win, right? And you have big performances all up and down the game in this one, right? Coby White led the way with 23 points on 8 of 24 shooting, so not an efficient night at all from Coby White. Him and Josh Giddey combined for 36 points, which is cool, 22 rebounds, and 17 assists. And I think that's a solid if you look at your backcourt and say you can get nearly 40 points and 23 assists, 22 rebounds and 17 assists from your backcourt. That's an overall solid night, right? As far as in the stat sheet. Now the efficiency was in the toilet. Giddey shot 4 of 16, 1 of 9 from three-point range. Coby White shot 8 of 24, 1 of 11 from three-point range. They both got to the free throw line decently. 7 times tonight for Coby White. He hit 6 of those. Josh Giddey hit all 4 of his free throws, which really helped in this game a lot. Vooch, I won't say Vooch was nullified by Mark Williams, but this wasn't the game that we've come accustomed to seeing from Nikola Vucevic because Mark Williams did give him some problems. Now, to Vooch's credit, I think Vooch realized, and as the game went on, he picked his spots, but 16 points from Vooch, 6 of 14 shooting, 3 of 7 from three-point line. He did finish with 16 points, 13 rebounds, 3 assists, 1 steal in this game. So it's overall good to see that aspect of it as well from Nikola Vucevic, that he had an impact. But I tell you what, from the onset of this game, from the start, Patrick Williams played a huge role in this game, especially in the first half. When we look at the first half of this game, Patrick Williams led the team in scoring with 3 of 5 shooting and 4 of 8 shooting for 12 points in this game. Now, we got 9 points each from Coby White and Josh Giddey, so it's not like he was the only one doing any of the lifting, but it was a really good game from Patrick Williams, specifically in that first half. He still finishes the game pretty strong with 17 points on 5 of 11 shooting, but of course, Patrick Williams tapered off mainly because he was asked to do more defensively as this game went on because the Bulls went through a stretch there. They couldn't stop anything. Now, the Hornets only shot 41% overall in the game. I said the Bulls shot 37%. But the Hornets hit some really big shots, some momentum-changing shots, and the Bulls didn't always know how to counteract that, and that's something you really want to see this team fix when it's all said and done, and we'll see if they can. But overall, like I said, I give the team a lot of credit for how they were able to perform in this game. It was better than it was bad. Well, in some areas, right? And you love to see that from this team. Let's see how you guys are feeling right now. We got Rondo 2 Raw says, man, Josh 100% makes the team better, bro. I don't know what all the hate toward him is about because he does have limitations. And I think a lot of it when it comes down to it is that, and I said this over on Chicago Bulls Central, I'll say it here as well. This was one of those games where the Bulls would have benefited from sitting Josh Giddey in the fourth quarter. And I would assume who playing there because of his defense, because of his shooting, and because of his creation in the transition. And that's not a negative on Josh Giddey. That's what having a team is about. You're supposed to be, I've compared it to a bullpen, right? Like in baseball, having a bullpen, you're supposed to be able to go, if you want different looks, to different players. And that's fine. That's the balance of a team. But I think when you look at why Josh Giddey gets so much hate, a big part of it is nothing to do with basketball. Y'all can figure that out. The fact that we traded a beloved player in Alex Caruso for him. And then the fact that Josh Giddey does have some major glaring flaws. And I think that they use those flaws to overlook some of the things that Josh Giddey does that are really important for the Chicago Bulls. And so, he's not a perfect player. And, Bulls fans hold a grudge. How many years did Bulls fans blame everything on Nikola Vucevic, even though he had solid stat production, right? It just is what it is. And a lot of fans don't look at the situation that's involved in it. They just look at, they're not seeing the result that they want to see, right? Shay says, Haize, I know this could mean less to you, but don't you think it's a dang shame that ESPN is broadcasting our next game versus the Hornets, but not the New York Knicks game? No. I mean, listen, you would think that the Knicks would be able to get you on national TV. When it comes down to it, like it just is what it is. There's not a big business right now in airing Bulls games because people just don't know how this Bulls team is going to perform each and every night. This is what it is. Now, the game is on NBA TV, and I think that is the NBA doing its part to make sure that it can get to as many eyes as possible. And I do think that, the NBA has its games where sometimes they make certain things free. We'll see if they do that as well. But, it is what it is. Rob says, P. Will, that 3 in the corner had to be the most clutch shot he's made maybe this year versus bad team, but still how late in the game it was. I think P. Will's hit some bigger shots in the last couple of games, if I'm not mistaken. But you said late in the game, not late in the shot clock, so you may be right on that one. But P. Will overall has been playing really well here lately. Been playing more aggressive, keeping his head up, not passing up shots. So those are some things that really have been working in Patrick Williams' favor as well. Do you think this team could beat the Knicks in a playoff series? No. What? No. Come on, man. Like, I get it that it's exciting when your team wins, especially 2 games in a row. But in a 7-game series against a Tom Thibodeau coach team that is going to make adjustments and Billy Donovan doesn't, the Knicks have lost 10 games on the year so far. Right? They have almost a 70% win percentage and are beating teams on average by 8 points per game. The Chicago Bulls have a losing record, and they're losing on average by almost 4 points per game. No, I don't think the Bulls can beat the New York Knicks in a 7-game series. I don't think that they can. Maybe they can pull out one. They're not going to beat them in a 7-game series. Oh, dang, NBA TV too. Didn't know. That's dope. My nephew can watch in Texas. Yeah, see, and that's for the wide range of fans that Derrick Rose has, I think the NBA realized, like, hey, even if none of our national broadcast partners pick this up, we need to do it. We need to pick it up so that way we can put this on as many eyes because Derrick Rose deserves to be seen in that light. There's 5 to 6 years players on our squad who need their training wheels removed. The way Billy dug deep into the boneyard to give a lot of minutes to players we know are not part of the future. Well, keep in mind, this team isn't in all development mode. And Billy Donovan said it at the beginning of the season, they're not going to give young players minutes just to give young players minutes. This team is still trying to win basketball games. The front office may have a different goal, but coaches and players don't try to tank. So no, Billy Donovan went to a player that was playing good, that got hot, and played an important role in the win here. And we're going to talk a little bit more about Torrey Craig and his input in this game for sure. But overall, man, I'll say this about this win before we end this segment and get into the next one, is that I, for one, am just appreciative of the Bulls showing heart, because there's a lot of situations in this game that Bulls in previous years would have let this game completely get away from them, and they wouldn't have got back in the game. And that is what this team did today. They found a way to get back in the game, and they don't always do that. So credit out to the Bulls for being able to get back in a game that the Hornets, and to the Hornets' credit, they refused to go away there for a little while for the Bulls. And shout out to them as well for providing that. Listen, this was an entertaining game. I think it would have been a little bit less entertaining for my personal enjoyment had the Bulls lost, but it was an entertaining game. But next up, we're going to talk about a big reason why the Bulls were able to pull out that win. That was a performance from Torrey Craig. We're going to talk about him and some of the other players coming off the bench in this game. But first, we got to get to a message from Rocket RX. Today's episode is brought to you by Rocket RX. If you're ready to boost your confidence and take control in the bedroom, Rocket RX has the solution. Imagine feeling more prepared and performing at your best. Rocket RX makes it simple and stress-free. Rocket RX offers FDA-approved treatments for erectile dysfunction at a lower cost than branded alternatives. No more uncomfortable doctor visits or pharmacy trips. Everything's delivered straight to your door in a discreet, plain packaging. With Rocket RX, you'll get trusted care from a real U.S. clinical team, complete with a quick 100% online consultation, and you can get your free prescription today. Visit rocketrx.com to get started now. It only takes 2 minutes. Right now, our customers can get 40% off your first order when you use code LOCKEDONNBA. That's rocketrx.com, code LOCKEDONNBA for 40% off your order. Terms and conditions apply. Rocket RX, better sex made simple. More Locked On Bulls coming up next. You might as well have said that segment was sponsored by Winton Mahorn. No, all jokes aside. But, shout out to y'all, man. Thank you guys for tuning in. I want to get back into this game a little bit, right? I want to talk about one of the players that had a big performance. When you look at the last couple of games for the Bulls or weeks for the Chicago Bulls, we had a big performance from Javon Carter. And then today we get a big performance from Torrey Craig. And Torrey Craig in the fourth quarter of this game was hugely important to the Bulls being able to have any form of success. Torrey Craig overall went 6 of 12 in this game, 5 of 7 from three-point range for 18 points, 5 rebounds, 2 assists, 1 steal, no turnovers, only 1 personal foul. Torrey Craig absolutely balled out today. He balled out today. And you love to see that aspect of things, is that when you have a player that steps into the type of role that he had. And Torrey Craig, this is why vets are important, right? Especially for teams. Now, we hope that they can be a little bit more important to help get his butt out of here and help get us a couple of second-round picks. But Torrey Craig was really important in that. When you look at it, in the second half of this game, he scored 6 points. He went 2 for 2 from three-point range. But that overtime period, in the overtime period of this game, Torrey Craig, he played really good defense, didn't have necessarily the same offensive output, but he still scored 5 points, went 2 of 2 from the field, 1 of 1 from three-point range. And it was important to help swing things. And Torrey Craig came in and helped swing the momentum, right? When you're a young team in the NBA, finding the ways to get that momentum in is really something that helps, right? And Torrey Craig is a veteran, and that's why you go to your bullpen. That's why you go to some of your veterans, because they understand how to get there. And Torrey Craig helped this team drastically with this. When you look at overall in the second half of this game, right? And I just want to look at it. The Bulls went 7 of 29 in the second half of this game from three-point line. 4 of those were made by Torrey Craig. That's how important Torrey Craig's role was today for the Chicago Bulls, coming off the bench, plus 12 in this game. Now, another player, and nobody's really going to be surprised by this. I've been talking a lot about Lonzo's overall impact on this game, and he only went 1 of 3 shooting today. 1 of 3. It's funny enough. He went 1 of 3 overall from the field, all of those being three-pointers, and he also went 1 of 3 from the free throw line. 1 of 3 all the way around. He only had 4 points, 5 assists, 3 rebounds in this game, also 3 steals, but he led the way in plus-minus at plus 25. Playing 26 minutes, only 4 points, but to have a plus-minus of plus 25, that goes to show how many different areas of the game that Lonzo Ball is impacting for the Chicago Bulls. And so, whatever the future holds, if he's in a Bulls uniform, out of a Bulls uniform, whatever comes with that, that's out of our control. But Lonzo plus 25 in this game was huge. You don't win this game if it wasn't for what Lonzo Ball did defensively, if it wasn't for what Lonzo Ball did in forcing turnovers, You just don't get that. Lonzo makes heads-up plays. And I've said this many times before. Lonzo Ball is not only one of has one of the highest basketball IQs on this Bulls team. Lonzo Ball has one of the highest basketball IQs in the league. And you see it every time that he's out there. And look at some of the things that don't register in the stat sheet, right? How many plays he saves, right? How many assists he gets that he sets up, but he may not get the assist. That's what the impact that Lonzo Ball has. And maybe that's what the Bulls are hoping for when we hear that the Bulls are open to trading Lonzo Ball. But again, out of our control. It is what it is. But while he's here in the Bulls uniform, he's playing extremely well for this team and having a big impact. I also want to throw some love to Jalen Smith in this game. 11 points, 5 of 12 from the field, 5 rebounds. The first half for Jalen Smith was hideous. And I'm not saying that he had a great game overall today. But like I said with a lot of people, a lot of players on this team, they had their moments. And Jalen Smith absolutely had his moments today. 1 steal, 1 block in that time period as well. Plus a plus-minus of plus 11. He scored 11 points. Jalen Smith had a huge impact and was a huge reason of why this team was able to stay in this game. When I mentioned earlier how there were several times where the Bulls had situations where in the past they would have given up the lead and gotten in their own heads about it. Jalen Smith was one of the reasons the Bulls didn't do that. I'm not saying he's the reason, but he definitely was one of the reasons why the Chicago Bulls were able to do that in this game. And then I also want to point out something that I know a lot of people aren't gonna point out, and that's perfectly fine. But that's why you come to Locked On Bulls, because I give a little bit more. Coby White had 9 assists today, right? Which I did talk about. But on those 9 assists, he had 3 turnovers, but only one of those turnovers were from a bad pass. And he created 23 points off assists today. 23 points off Coby White's assists today. That's huge. That's how you can impact the game. And most of those assists came off him driving, penetrating, and kickouts. Not the last minute kicks out where he contorts his body and then it's a turnover, but it seemed like it was intentional. And that's how you get Coby White. And let me just show y'all how he spread the ball out today. He had 3 assists to Nikola Vucevic, feeding the big man. He had 2 assists to Jalen Smith, feeding another one of the players that play the big man role for us. 1 to Josh Giddey, 1 to Dalen Terry, 1 to Patrick Williams, 1 to THT. That was really important for the Bulls in what they did today, man. And you really love seeing that. Really love seeing that. That was important, man. And so I really appreciate this team and when they play well, what they're able to do. And they don't always do it. But they did it today. And the thing with Coby as well, I know Coby shot the ball absolutely trash today. But only 37% of his shots today were assisted. Coby was out there trying to make it happen. And, that's kind of how we want to get Coby back into playing. Now, you want it to be more controlled for sure. And this is why I said before that I hesitated at saying Coby White is out of his slump. Because while the stat sheet looks good, you watch this game, Coby White took some ill-advised threes, some big ill-advised threes. So you got to do something else when that happens. So, we'll see. Why did it refresh on me? I was trying to get into the comments, but it refreshed on me. Great win, great finishing out that game. Solid. I won't say that it was great because it was great finishing out that game. We wouldn't have won into overtime. But I like what they did in overtime. If that's what you're referring to, then yeah, they played pretty solidly there. Rob says Smith has that little hop step after catching a pass before a shot sometimes. I worry refs going to call travel. I mean, every player has their little quirks, but I think a lot of referees also understand that, and that's why you see some leeway with some stuff with some of these players. JDH, I want us to win, but not with this roster. Exactly. Would love to get a pick and on account of a poor record and even more picks via trade. We'll think about winning next season. Well, I mean, unfortunately, via what we've seen right now, I mean, the Bulls are concerned about winning now. Jeffrey, so Coby is still in this slump still. I won't say that he's necessarily still in the slump. He may have just had a bad shooting game. Things have still been considerably up for Coby, more so than down. Keep in mind, this is a player that was averaging 13 points over a 15-game span on like 32% shooting overall from the field. So he's been much better than that, even with this cold shooting day. But I can't say he's completely out the slump yet. He's getting out of it, but I just personally can't say that he's out of it yet, just because of everything that, how bad he still shot today personally. But we're going to talk about, finish this with some nostalgia, because Derrick Rose and Joakim Noah hit us all right here today. But first, we got to get some message from one of our sponsors, and this time it's Rocket Money. Managing subscriptions can be a hassle. Do you know you might be paying for services you no longer use, or even paying for some twice? Hold up. What do we do here? Move that. There you go. That's where Rocket Money comes in, simplifying your finances and helping you stay in control. Rocket Money is a personal finance app that tracks and cancels unwanted subscriptions, monitors your spending, and even negotiates to lower your bills. With everything all in one place, you can finally get a clear picture of your finances and start reaching your goals. Over 5 million users have saved a combined $500 million, with some saving up to $740 a year using Rocket Money's premium features. One of its standout features is the subscription tracker. It identifies and cancels subscriptions you don't want anymore with just a few taps. Plus, their goals feature helps you set aside money for the future effortlessly, taking the stress out of budgeting. Take charge of your finances today with Rocket Money. Cancel unwanted subscriptions and start saving. Go to rocketmoney.com/lockedon. That's rocketmoney.com/lockedon. rocketmoney.com/lockedon. More Locked On Bulls coming up right after this. All right, my Bulls fans, gonna go ahead and get ready to wrap this one on up today. And yeah, they did it. They did it. Seeing Joakim Noah and Derrick Rose sit there and talk about what they like, just having those moments together, reminiscing, looking over highlights, sharing stories. I tell you what, I don't know who's on the Chicago Bulls production team, but whoever came up with this and to do this far out from Derrick Rose night, they deserve an award, right? This was one of those moments that I don't know how much general NBA audiences are going to get out of it. Understand that Derrick Rose is a much loved player. Make no mistake about it. But around the league, even out of Chicago. But I tell you what, for people who've been Bulls fans, who've watched this team, man, that was something special. And so far, the video has been up for 7 hours. It's almost at 40,000 views, which may not seem a lot, but for basketball stuff, that is a lot. Man, it's just, yeah. It was special. I'm probably going to watch it again after this, to be 100% honest with you, because it was one of those moments, man. It was one of those moments, man. The happy birthday there to end it all was just crazy. It was just crazy. And I hope everybody really got to watch that, man, because it was major, man. It was major. And I think when you're able to get guys together that played together, that battled together, that really put the city on their back. You remember when Joakim Noah retired and we had the Joakim Noah night here, Derrick Rose said, "Thank you for everything you've done for my city." Right? That's what he said there. And you got the feel from this. And you always get the feel every time that Joakim Noah, like Joe loves the city of Chicago, but you can tell that that having Derrick Rose there, it added a little something for everybody on that roster. And I'm sure we're going to hear it all on Derrick Rose night from everybody, but seeing it in this shape, form, or fashion, seeing it come out and as well produced as what this was, just two guys, two brothers, a brothership forged through basketball, sit there and reminisce over the good times. And then for a lot of Bulls fans, this is still the best times that they remember as a Bulls fan. To see that, to have that moment, to see that being shared, that was something that was worth seeing. It really was. I'm probably going to go watch it again. Man. Because, yeah, that's just, That's what teamwork is about. And when as a kid, you always envision your favorite players on the team being best friends on and off the court. Like I know about me, it shattered my childhood to find out that Jordan and Pippen had always had a little issue with each other, right? That they weren't hanging out outside of playing basketball together. But you know that these guys are truly brothers. These guys do hang out outside of basketball. These guys do spend time together, probably all the time, outside the game of basketball. And that's what's special about it, man. Yeah. But that's my time for tonight, guys, man. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. This is your Tuesday episode, so you won't be seeing me tomorrow morning. I'll be back on day off Wednesday. Yeah, day off Wednesday, so you won't be seeing me Wednesday either. But we'll be back after that, man. I love you guys. Thank you so much for being the most important part of Locked On Bulls. Make sure you guys are following Locked On Bulls. At Locked On Bulls. You can also sign up for the Locked On Bulls daily newsletter at lockedondaily.com. Sign up, help your boy out. I'm trying to get in the top 10 as far as subscribers on the newsletter. Right now, we are at, I'm going to check it. We have 693 subscribers to the daily newsletter, and we're number 12. And all of Locked On, we're number 12. Right now, the Denver Nuggets are number 10, and they have 8 more subscribers to the daily newsletter than us. Listen, I get it. Not everybody wants a newsletter, but Chicago, we like having our bragging rights. I need everybody when this live stream ends, and if you're watching this video after the fact, go to lockedondaily.com and sign up for the Locked On Bulls daily newsletter. Help me get in that top 10 so I can have a little bit of bragging rights. But that's my time. Love you guys. Go Bulls. See red, y'all, and I'll see you guys on Thursday. Peace, y'all.